the most recent TWID coming out just a few days ago with our mid-season updates, we have a lot of changes coming to Destiny in Season 23. As like most TWIDs, the most important stuff that we need to know and be aware of is all of the buffs and nerfs to all of our weapons. Now, if you haven't read the TWID just yet, that's okay. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you can go and have a read through it yourself. But the main thing that I want to cover in this video is some weapons that could be meta in the following few weeks once this update goes live. Now, obviously, we can't tell if they're going to be meta just yet because we need to do some testing for ourselves. But just by reading what Bungie has stated in the TWID here, there's a possibility for some new weapons and some old weapons to come back and be meta. Now, just before you start a write in the comments section down below, this whole video is just speculation and reading off what the buffs and nerfs are going to be. This is just my speculation and opinion on some weapons that could be meta in the following few weeks. So without spending hours and hours going through the TWID, I'm going to let you guys know on the most important sections that I think are going to be meta and very important in the next few weeks. And let's start off with scout rifles. So currently, with Destiny as it is, the most popular scout rifles in the game are usually precision frame scout rifles. Some just off the top of my head to name is weapons like the Doom of Chelchis and the Hunk Jury SR4. But in the TWID here, Bungie has stated that they are giving the lightweight scout rifle frames a 5% base damage boost. And it's going to bring down the optimal TTK from 4 crits down to 3 crits and 1 body. Now, lightweight frames have always been a semi-decent scout rifle, but they sort of just haven't hit as hard as you need them to. Now, with this 5% damage boost, maybe this could start doing some more damage, and it could bring those lightweight frames up into the meta again. Off the top of my head, when I think of lightweight frame scout rifles, there are 3 immediate scout rifles that come to my mind that are my favorite to use in the game that you probably already have. The first scout rifle is the Nightwatch. This is already a great scout rifle to use in that mid-game activities, but it sort of lacks off in the higher end activities like Grandmaster Nightfalls. Me personally, I really enjoy lightweight scout rifles because they shoot extremely fast and they can have some pretty good perks to go with it. The Nightwatch is definitely one of these options because the gold roll for this is subsistence and explosive payload. This gun is already pretty decent, so with a 5% damage boost, it could be very good in the coming weeks. Now, the next scout rifle is one that you may or may not have. It is the Tarazipos, which came out last year in the Guardian Games 2023. So if you have this one, you probably stored a bunch in your vault, but if you don't have one, that's okay. You can probably get it this year with the Guardian Games. Now, this is basically a Hung Jury scout rifle, but it is in the frame of a lightweight. Now, what I mean by that is it looks the exact same as the Hung Jury, but it has a lightweight frame, which increases the rounds per minute. Now, the first column, the best perk in my opinion is 4 times the charm, but in the second column, you have a few options here depending on your playstyle. You can run with explosive payload, or you can use Hatchling. If you really feel like it, you could also try running Focus Fury, but I don't know how that one would go too well on a scout rifle. So like I said, if you played the Guardian Games last year, just check your vault to see how many of these you have stored away. If you have a gold roll, awesome, maybe see how it goes in a couple weeks. Now, the final scout rifle is the Tarnished Metal, which came out in the Season of the Plunder. This weapon came out a few seasons ago now, so if you don't have this one crafted, you can still get it through the exotic mission rotator, but if you do have it crafted, maybe keep an eye out in the following weeks. The gold roll for this one is definitely Rapid Hit and Vault Shot in the first and second columns. This is a great scout rifle being arc as well, and it goes in the energy slot. If you don't like either of these perks, that is okay. You can still run Demolitionist, you can run Steady Hands, you can even run 4 times the charm, and in the second column, you got some pretty good perks here like Explosive Payload. You also have Dragonfly, or you can even run something like Focus Fury, Eye of the Storm, whatever you want. This has a lot of perks to run with. This is a great scout rifle, and even to this day, I still use it. Now, the rocket launchers is the next section that I want to cover, and this is probably one of the biggest changes that we've had in this TWID. So as we already know, adaptive frame rocket launchers like the Apex Predator are the best rocket launchers in the game to use because they get a slight damage buff, and they have weapons like Apex Predator with perks like Bait and Switch and Reconstruction. These are far outweighing the meta, and these are pretty much the only rocket launchers that you should be using in the entire game. Obviously, Bungie wants to fix this. So currently in the game, for some reason, if you were using a precision frame rocket launcher, there is a 10% damage loss for whatever reason. They are now reducing this to only a 5% damage loss. Now, for both precision and high impact frame rocket launchers, they will also be getting 2 extra rounds in their magazine. With these 2 extra bullets and a damage penalty reduced, this could definitely bring both precision and high impact frames up to the meta with some of the best rocket launchers in the game. However, we will have to do some damage testing because we can't know just yet until we do it ourselves. So there is 2 rocket launchers that are on my radar with this buff that could be meta in the following weeks. The first rocket launcher is the Semiotician from the Season of the Witch just last season. Now this rocket launcher was sort of skipped over by the community because it didn't seem that good, and obviously the Apex Predator was the reigning king. However, with these buffs coming, there is actually some pretty good perks on this rocket launcher that could make it meta. In the first column, you have the decision between Field Prep or Impulse Amplifier, depending on how you like to play, and in the second column, you can try Bipod, which is actually a pretty good perk, or you can run with Explosive Light. Either of these perks are very good, and they depend on your playstyle and what sort of activity you're doing. This weapon is also craftable, so you can pick the perks you want straight away. And the other rocket launcher is the Royal Entry, which is a fairly easy rocket launcher to get. All you have to do is head to the tower and do some either strikes, or talk to Zavala and buy one. This weapon has a lot of perks that can be useful depending on how you like to play and obviously what activity you're doing. In the first column, you have a choice of 3 great perks for rocket launchers. You can choose Field Prep, Auto Loading Holster, or Impulse Amplifier. In the second column, there is a couple perks here that can be useful. You can try Ambitious Assassin, you can try Clown Cartridge, or you could even try One for All, which will give you a 35% damage boost, but it might be a little bit tricky to actually proc that one. Something that also needs to be mentioned here while we're talking over rocket launchers is the Deathbringer, the Gjallarhorn, and the Truth will also be getting all of these buffs that I stated before. So all 3 of those rocket launchers will be also getting 2 extra rounds. So if you are the designated Gjallarhorn person in your fire team, don't worry because you're actually going to get a couple extra rockets, which will help you do a little bit more damage. And the final thing that I want to mention is Bait and Switch is getting a 5% damage reduction down from 35%. Down to 30. Let's jump over into heavy grenade launchers. So with the current state of heavy grenade launchers, the only way to make the heavy grenade launchers viable is to have the spiked grenades perk on the gun. Bungie doesn't want this to be a thing anymore, so they're reducing the damage that spiked grenades gives the grenade launcher, meaning that you can run any grenade launcher that doesn't have spiked grenades. Now to counteract this damage loss that you would be experiencing because you no longer have spiked grenades on your grenade launcher, they are giving every single grenade launcher a bonus 6 to 10 grenade shots depending on what grenade launcher it is. So pretty much every grenade launcher in the game is getting massive reserve buffs, which will definitely make the grenade launcher do extra damage. So pretty much you can run any grenade launcher that you want, but some of the best ones to note are the Regnant, the Corix's Distress, and the Wendigo GL3. All 3 of these grenade launchers have some of the best perks in the game that are set for grenade launchers. Perks like Envious Assassin, Auto Loading Holster, and Explosive Light are on all 3 of these grenade launchers. Now the final thing that I want to mention that is in the twid here that I feel like a lot of players might have breezed over or didn't even really take notice is the buffs that they are giving to the perk Heal Clip. So Heal Clip was sort of a perk that they added to the game that players thought would be pretty good, but it turns out it was pretty average. Basically, the way it works is after you get a kill and then you reload, it gives you 1x cure. This is roughly the equivalent of 60 health as for PvE Guardians. Now the change that they are making to Heal Clip is now it will give you 2x cure, meaning you will get 120 health. Now 120 health is more than half of your Guardian's entire health. If you are a Guardian with 10 resilience, you have 201 health points. So getting a cure of 120 will definitely give you way more than half of your current health. Now, although this isn't meta defining or breaking, the Heal Clip perk is definitely getting a buff that could seriously be something to look out for on certain guns in the game for certain harder activities like Grandmaster Nightfalls or even Master Raids. 2 of the best guns that Heal Clip can roll on is the Abyss Defiant from the Crota's End, which is a great auto rifle, especially if you're using it inside of the Crota's End raid. Putting Heal Clip on this one in the following weeks will definitely keep you alive a lot more. Now the other one is the Adhorative Pulse Rifle from the current season, Season of the Wish, which you can go and craft right now. Just passively being a Guardian, killing ads and then reloading and getting more than 50% of your health back is actually very slept on. I'm sure people will argue in the comments down below saying there's no point in running Heal Clip because you can just do more damage with a damage perk. But the thing is, you can't do damage if you are dead, so there is definitely a place for Heal Clip in the game. But anyway, Guardians, that will wrap the video up there. There are some of the most important weapon changes coming in the following few weeks for the mid-season update for Season of the Wish. Some of these weapons could be meta in the following weeks, or I could be completely wrong. We're just gonna have to wait and find out. But anyway, Guardians, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, comment down below. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.